Most people assume that when a plant looks bad, it needs more water or more fertilizer. So they water more. They add plant food. The plant gets worse. Then they give up and buy a new one. The real problem in most cases is the soil itself, not the water schedule, not the light, not the pot size. Healthy soil is not just dirt. It's a living system full of microorganisms, air pockets, and organic material that all work together to feed roots and move water properly. When that system breaks down, roots suffocate. They can't absorb nutrients even when nutrients are present. The plant starves while sitting in fertilized soil, which makes no sense until you understand what's actually happening underground. Compacted soil is one of the biggest causes of plant failure that nobody talks about. Over time, especially in pots, soil particles press together. Water starts pooling on the surface and instead of soaking through. Roots can't push through the dense material to spread out. The plant's entire support system gets choked off from the inside. You can water perfectly and still lose the plant. The other common issue is pH imbalance. Soil that is too acidic or too alkaline locks nutrients in place chemically, meaning the fruits are surrounded by food they literally cannot access. You could dump the best fertilizer money can buy into soil with a bad pH and see zero results. The plant just sits there, slowly declining, while you spend more money trying to fix something you don't realize is broken. What most people need is not more inputs, more water, more fertilizer, more supplements. They need a soil reset, something that physically breaks up compaction, adjusts pH, and reactivates the microbial life that makes nutrients available to roots in the first place. That's where this $3 trick comes in, and it works faster than most people expect. If any of this sounds familiar, do yourself a favor and like this video, share it with someone who's losing plants they don't know how to save, and subscribe for more practical stuff like this. The ingredient is agricultural gypsum, also called calcium sulfate. A 5-pound bag costs around $3 at most garden centers, farm supply stores, or online. It has been used in professional agriculture for decades, and it works on everything from massive crop fields to small indoor potted plants. It is not a fertilizer, it is not a chemical treatment, it is a soil conditioner, and that distinction matters a lot. Gypsum does several things at once. The calcium in it breaks up the bonds between tightly packed soil particles, which physically opens up the soil structure. This creates air pockets and drainage channels that roots can actually move through. The sulfur component helps lower pH in alkaline soils, bringing it closer to the neutral range where most plants absorb nutrients most efficiently. And because the soil structure loosens up, the microbial communities that live in healthy soil have room and oxygen to reestablish themselves, which kickstarts the whole nutrient cycle back into motion. One of the biggest advantages of gypsum over other soil amendments is that it doesn't change soil pH dramatically or unpredictably. It nudges it toward neutral without the risk of swinging too far in the wrong direction, which is a real problem with lime or sulfur powder when used without soil testing. Gypsum is forgiving, which makes it safe for people who don't have testing equipment and just want results without accidentally making things worse. It also doesn't burn roots. A lot of soil additives, including many fertilizers and even some organic amendments, can damage root tissue if applied at the wrong concentration. Gypsum has no such risk. You can apply it generously without worrying about chemical burn, which makes it particularly useful for plants that are already stressed and vulnerable. For container plants specifically, gypsum is one of the most underused tools available. Potted soil compacts faster than garden soil because it doesn't have the natural activity of earthworms and soil insects to keep it loose. After one growing season, many potting mixes become so dense that water barely penetrates them. Gypsum applied to the surface and watered in can restore drainage and aeration in a matter of days, not weeks. Roots don't grow randomly. They follow paths of least resistance, which means they move through loose, aerated, moist soil and stop at dense, dry, or compacted areas. When you improve soil structure, you are directly increasing the volume of territory that roots can colonize. More root volume means more surface area for nutrient and water absorption, which translates directly into faster, stronger growth above ground. Calcium plays a specific and well-documented role in root cell development. Root tips, the growing ends of roots, require calcium to build new cell walls. Without adequate calcium in an accessible form, root tip growth slows or stops entirely. The plant can't push new roots out even if the surrounding soil is loose enough to allow it. Gypsum delivers calcium in a form that is water-soluble and immediately available to plant roots, unlike lime-based calcium sources which dissolve slowly over months. Sulfur from the gypsum contributes to the production of certain amino acids and enzymes that plants use in their metabolic processes. A sulfur deficiency, which is more common than most gardeners realize, shows up as yellowing of new growth rather than old growth, a specific pattern that distinguishes it from nitrogen deficiency. When gypsum addresses a quiet sulfur deficiency that the grower didn't even know was there, the response in plant color and vigor can look almost miraculous. The microbial angle is equally important. Soil bacteria and fungi don't just decompose organic matter, they actively transport nutrients to root surfaces, produce compounds that suppress disease, and help regulate soil moisture. These organisms need oxygen to function, and compacted soil starves them of it. When gypsum opens up soil structure and aeration improves, microbial populations rebound quickly. This is why plants treated with gypsum often show improvement not just in root growth but in overall disease resistance and general vitality over the weeks that follow application. There is also a relationship between soil structure and water efficiency worth mentioning. Properly structured soil acts like a sponge. It absorbs water, holds it in accessible pockets, and releases it gradually to roots over time. Compacted soil either repels water or allows it to pass straight through without being retained. Plants in compacted soil experience drought stress even when watered regularly, because the water doesn't stay where roots can reach it. Gypsum, by improving soil structure, directly improves water use efficiency. Plants need less frequent watering after treatment, which matters especially in dry climates. The application method depends on whether you're working with container plants, raised beds, or in-ground garden soil. Each situation calls for a slightly different approach, and getting this right makes a noticeable difference in how quickly you see results. For container plants, the simplest method is surface application. Take about 1 tablespoon of granular gypsum per 6 inches of pot diameter and spread it evenly across the soil surface. Water thoroughly immediately after application. The water dissolves the gypsum and carries it down through the soil profile, where it starts working on compaction. For smaller pots under 6 inches, a teaspoon is enough. You don't need to mix it in aggressively or disturb the roots. Surface application with deep watering works fine and avoids transplant shock in sensitive plants. For raised beds and garden soil, a broadcast application works well. Spread about 5 pounds of granular gypsum per 100 square feet of bed area. You can work it lightly into the top inch or two of soil with a hand rake if the soil is loose enough, or simply broadcast it on the surface and water it in if the soil is too compacted to work easily. Repeat applications every 3 to 4 months during the growing season for the first year if you're dealing with severely compacted or clay-heavy soil. Gypsum comes in 2 main forms, granular and powdered. Granular is easier to handle, releases more slowly, and is less likely to be blown around or inhaled during application. Powdered gypsum acts faster but requires more careful handling. For most home gardeners, granular is the better choice unless you need rapid results on a plant in visible crisis. Timing matters somewhat, though gypsum is forgiving enough that there's no single right moment. Applying before a rain or a deep watering session accelerates the benefit because the calcium and sulfur need moisture to move into the soil. Avoid applying during drought stress periods without immediate follow-up watering, because dry gypsum sitting on dry soil does almost nothing. The key is always moisture. Apply, then water deeply. One thing to note for plants that prefer acidic soil: blueberries, azaleas, rhododendrons, camellias. Gypsum is generally considered pH neutral in practice, meaning it doesn't significantly acidify or alkalify soil the way other sulfur products do. Most acid-loving plants tolerate gypsum well, but if you're working with a plant that is highly sensitive to pH shifts, a soil test before and after application is worth doing just to be sure. For everything else, vegetables, herbs, most flowers, fruit trees, tropical houseplants, gypsum is safe to apply without testing. A plant that looks like it's dying is not necessarily dead, and in many cases, soil intervention is the difference between losing it and turning it around completely. The first thing to do before reaching for gypsum on a struggling plant is to confirm that the problem is actually soil-related. Pull the plant out of its pot if possible and look at the roots. Healthy roots are white or light tan and firm. Roots affected by overwatering are brown or black and mushy. Roots in compacted, oxygen-deprived soil are often stunted, circling the pot wall, or sparse, There will be noticeably less root material than you'd expect for the size of the plant. If the roots are brown and mushy, you're dealing with root rot, and the approach is slightly different. You'll need to trim the rotted roots back to healthy tissue with sterilized scissors, let the remaining roots dry slightly for an hour, and then repot into fresh, well-draining soil that includes gypsum mixed throughout at a rate of about 1 tablespoon per gallon of potting mix. This combination of pruning, drying, and improved soil structure gives the remaining roots the best possible environment to regenerate. If the roots look sparse or stunted but not rotted, the problem is more likely compaction or nutrient lockout from pH imbalance. In this case, repotting into fresh gypsum-amended soil or surface applying gypsum to the existing pot and watering heavily will often produce visible improvement within 2 to 3 weeks. New root tips will begin pushing into the loosened soil, and as they do, the plant will start pulling in nutrients it couldn't access before. The above-ground response, new leaf growth, firming up of drooping stems, improved leaf color, typically follows the root response by about 1 to 2 weeks. For in-ground plants that are struggling, the approach depends on how established they are. For young plants in their first 2 years, you can often excavate a bit around the base of the plant, mix gypsum into the surrounding soil at the rates mentioned earlier, and backfill carefully. For established shrubs and trees with extensive root systems, surface application and watering is safer because disturbing the root zone of an established plant adds stress rather than reducing it. For these larger plants, apply gypsum as a top dressing around the drip line, the circle of soil directly beneath the outer edge of the canopy, and water it in deeply. Results come slower with this method, but the risk of damage is essentially zero. Yellowing leaves, especially when the yellowing appears on newer growth rather than older leaves, often respond well to gypsum treatment because of the sulfur and calcium it provides. If you've been dealing with persistent yellowing that doesn't respond to nitrogen fertilizer, there's a real chance sulfur or calcium deficiency, combined with pH-driven nutrient lockout, is the underlying issue, and gypsum addresses all three at once. Give it 3 to 4 weeks from application before expecting to see new growth in healthy green color, since the plant needs time to synthesize chlorophyll with the newly available nutrients. The most important thing when rescuing a struggling plant is to stop adding things that stress it further. Fertilizer applied to a root system that is already damaged or suffocated causes more harm than good because the roots can't process the nutrients, and salts from the fertilizer build up in the soil and draw moisture out of root tissue. Gypsum is one of the few interventions you can make on a stressed plant without risk of making things worse, which is a significant advantage when you're dealing with something you don't want to lose. Most people applying gypsum for the first time want to know exactly when they'll see results, and the honest answer is that it depends on what condition the soil was in to begin with and what specific problem you're addressing. Drainage improvement is usually the fastest visible change. Within 1 or 2 watering cycles after a gypsum application, water that used to pool on the surface or run off the sides of a pot will start soaking in more readily. This is a clear sign the compaction is breaking up and soil structure is improving. Root growth changes are happening underground and aren't directly visible unless you repot or excavate, but they show up above ground as increased growth rate, firmer stem structure, and improved leaf color over 2 to 4 weeks. If you applied gypsum to a plant that was in obvious decline, don't expect overnight recovery. The plant first has to stop losing ground, then stabilize, then resume normal growth, then catch up to where it should be. The full process typically takes 4 to 6 weeks, and it can feel slow in the first 2 weeks before things visibly turn around. For plants in genuinely healthy soil that you're treating proactively rather than reactively, the effect is more like enhanced performance than dramatic rescue. You might notice more vigorous new growth, larger leaf size, and higher fruit or flower production compared to untreated plants. In vegetable gardens where gypsum is applied regularly, yield increases are commonly reported by growers, and the produce tends to be more consistent in size and quality. One practical thing to watch for after application is watering frequency. As soil structure improves and water retention normalizes, you'll find that plants need watering less often because the soil holds moisture more effectively in the root zone. If you don't adjust your watering schedule accordingly, you can overwater plants that previously needed frequent watering due to compaction. Check soil moisture before watering rather than sticking to a fixed schedule, and let the plant guide the frequency based on actual soil conditions rather than habit. Over multiple seasons of gypsum use, you'll notice that your soil consistently stays looser and more workable, that drainage issues become less frequent, and that plants in treated areas tend to be more resilient to drought and disease. The improvement compounds over time because better soil structure supports more microbial life, which further improves soil structure, which supports even more microbial life. It's a positive cycle once you get it started. That's the complete breakdown of the $3 soil doctor trick. Agricultural gypsum is one of those things that professional growers have relied on for years, while most home gardeners have never heard of it. And the price point makes it accessible to everyone. If you try this and it works for your plants, leave a comment below and let me know what kind of plant you used it on and what you noticed. If you found this useful, please hit like, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video.